Federation of Labor is behind it. Their perspective is that if they can control the occupation movement to being students who support whatever campaigns that they do, that they'll be in a better position to help elect Obama. This is why any kind of perspective that's put forward that is critical of the Democratic Party or calling for another party has been suppressed. This is why the Anti-Police Brutality Committee from its inception was attacked by some of the main organizers of Occupy LA. Because if there's any independence, any vestige of any kind of control outside of that it threatens their ability to use Occupy LA as a way to re-elect Obama. So it's important for us to really see, well then what's our solution? Our solution is to form a current inside of Occupy LA. To form a current that is organizing in the working class. We have Occupy the Hood in Los Angeles that's attempting to put together these different working class communities and to bring them together around social issues. That we link ourselves with that. And that we also link ourselves with organized labor. The next speaker, he's a member and shops for the SEIU. We need to be linking ourselves to the rank and file workers. Obama administration gave SEIU gave $80 million to the Obama administration for his own election campaign. $80 million. It's a lot, and that's one union. Okay, that's not the carpenters, that's not the building trades, that's not the UAW, that's not the teachers, that's not the nurses. This is just one union. So if we think about all that money that gets given to the Democratic Party, what could we use that money for? We could use that money for our own candidate. We can have whoever, we can have an Occupy LA Workers' Party candidate that links the working class struggle with the occupation movement. Again, occupations are in every single major city in the United States. What if we linked up to all those occupations and together we put forward our own candidate, that we put forward our own demands, not following the Democratic Party, but saying, no, our demands are jobs for all at double the minimum wage, and health care for all, and legalization for undocumented immigrants, and public education free at all levels. What if we put forward, or public control of the means of communication? So we control the press, we control the television.
End of the drug war.
The end of the drug, if we could, so many of these ideas that people have, we agree on them. If we put forward that, we could have our own candidate. If we consciously went to the working class, we went to union halls. We met workers that were in union halls and we asked if we could give a speech or flyer it outside their hall, make connections with those workers. That could mean that we could do something like Oakland did, which is have a general strike. If we connected with the immigration movement, which effectively shut down the country in 2006, it wasn't called an immigrant, it wasn't called a general strike, but effectively they shut down the country, and particularly in Los Angeles where there were 2 million people marching. If we were able to link those struggles together, then we would have economic power and a political platform. For what then? Struggles United, Luchas Unidas, our perspective is that this isn't just an issue about corporate greed, even though there is an incredible amount of corporate greed. The issue is that we live under an economic system that is based on exploitation. It's based on exploiting people. It's based on paying people less than the value that they're producing. That's called profit. That's what comes out of that. So if we put forward an anti-capitalist perspective, a socialist perspective to say, we can run society in our own right. Even in the occupation movements, you see people setting up healthcare, food, security. These kind of things are happening. If we turn those into combative working class units, then those units can be ours that we control. If those workers, like if we organize the port workers from Walmart to the janitors. If we organize ourselves into these combative units of struggle, then in what sense would we even need to have this system that we live under that's only based on exploitation and murder? If we organize, if we consciously went to the soldiers that are in Iraq and we made links with those people, to people who are stationed here, and we made links with those people, we could use the framework of the occupation movement to link up in every single place. We could be in every single workplace. But that requires time, it requires resources, and it requires organization, a directive into the occupation movement to put these ideas forward. And that's what we'd like to do. And I'd like to also say that there's no way that this occupation movement is going to succeed without organized labor. When the cops decide to really clamp down on people and be extremely repressive, they've already been repressive, but to the likes of other countries where people have been shot, and it's a possibility that that could happen. Who will be the first line of our defense? Organized labor. Organized labor knows how to combat capitalism, even if the heads of it are linked to the Democratic Party. Organized labor has to be part of this. We have to have the truck drivers who control the port be at these meetings and their ideas linked up with us.
Yeah. Would you mind if I add something to that? I was talking to the organizers of Occupy Oakland, and they couldn't get an official endorsement from any union except for one, because the heads, again, like we were saying, but it didn't matter because the people in the unions wanted to go, and they came out in mass, regardless of the fact that their union did it. So I think there's ways of like getting labor that goes around their leadership.
This is kind of what
I think they had a stipulation in the union contract that said it was like a no-strike clause, right? So they couldn't officially give them permission, but they let them take time off, whatever, sick day.
I mean, that was another thing, was that the people who were in the occupation movement had links to them. I know the ILWU Local 10, I think, used it as a way about contract negotiations, and so. And that's another kind of discussion about the labor movement, right? Like, what should our strategy be? But it's absolutely true. They were forced to do that. SEIU was forced to even make a statement on that. I know we know some people in the Carpenters Local 713 that passed an endorsement too. And I think theirs was the only one that was passed by the rank and file. It wasn't the e-board. Right. Because we can get resolutions that are passed by presidents of unions who say they support us or whatever, but are they going to call their workers out? They're not. Right. And so what it requires on our part is patient explanation of working class people. To go to the working class as communities, to go in workplaces, to go to union halls, and to consciously organize. To say that we have the power as working class people. People who are not organized, Walmart workers, 7-Eleven workers, all those people are important. We need to organize those people as well. The immigration movement, those people already have an experience with shutting down the country. Linking that struggle and saying, let's have a combative one where we recognize ourselves as being against capitalism. And organizing the unorganized, organizing other oppressed groups, the LGBTQ community. People are working class people, unlike what's portrayed on television. Organizing along that basis and saying we stand in solidarity. Disability, calling for more disability access. But really what it is we need to organize ourselves against capitalism. That's our enemy, that's our main enemy. And be open and explicit about it. In fact, push for it in Occupy LA. The General Strike Committee that was just formed is a great tool to be able to use to really infuse this movement. Put out our own media. The media committee, they censor what they say in terms of what's going on in Occupy LA, and they've been decidedly defended the police inadvertently. They didn't even cover the protest against police brutality. Didn't cover it. So the live stream did, but they didn't interview people, they didn't do it. So anyway, I want to kind of conclude with that. We have the power, we control society, with our labor. We don't have to live in a society where banks who control our money could use it to fund military dictatorships around the world, to fund US military interventions. Corporations, we don't have to work for them either. From Walmart to sweatshops, these people exist to get profit off of exploiting us. If we organize ourselves, if we organize a workers' party, and we organize ourselves for revolution against this capitalist system, against the capitalist parties, then we can live in a society where we don't have to keep coming out and protesting for all these various issues. We'll be controlling them. We'll be in control of society and in control of our destiny. So I want to thank you all for coming.